0517 local time, Northern Arabian Sea. Inside the Combat Information Center, the air is calm and cool. Consoles glow softly in controlled darkness. Radar sweeps rhythmically across the SPY-1 display. Routine maritime traffic appears on the outer rings, then 4 surface contacts suddenly shift. Speed increases, courses tighten, formation changes. No AIS signals, no bridge-to-bridge hail, no civilian patterns. Multiple fast-moving vessels bearing 098 range 21 nautical miles. They surge from 14 to 32 knots in under 90 seconds. Not random, coordinated. The tactical action officer leans forward, voice steady. Confirmed track correlation. Confirmed. All 4 vessels are part of the same cluster. Iranian fast attack craft. Low radar signature. High wake. They are not wandering, they are vectoring. On the bridge, the destroyer maintains steady course. Helm unchanged, wake consistent. Externally, nothing appears different. Inside, posture shifts. Condition 3. Key stations are set and manned. Announcements move through passageways without urgency but without delay. Sailors secure loose gear. Weapon stations are manned. Electronic warfare systems come online. The forward 5-inch gun mount rotates slightly starboard. Not aimed, just visible. Range closes to 18 nautical miles. 1 Iranian craft edges ahead, adjusting its bearing directly toward the destroyer's projected track. CPA, closest point of approach, shrinks. 3.6 nautical miles, 8 minutes to impact. Bridge-to-bridge hail goes out. Unidentified Iranian naval vessels. This is a United States warship conducting lawful transit in international waters. You are approaching at high speed. Recommend altering course immediately. Silence. A second hail in Farsi. Silence. Electronic warfare logs show a narrowband radar sweep from the coastline. Low-power surface search mode. Not locked, just observing. 2 airborne contacts lift from Bandar Abbas, climbing through 8,000 feet, heading toward the carrier strike group. The destroyer is not alone. Over the horizon, the carrier maintains course with layered escorts. Geometry matters. Fast surface craft compressing from one vector, airborne contacts forming from another. Escalation is measured, not declared. CIC reports, recommend alert launch. On the flight deck, steam builds in the catapults. Yellow shirts move with precise efficiency. 2 FA-18 Super Hornets sit armed, air-to-air ready, no external strike ordnance, pure defense. The Iranian formation splits. 2 craft peels slightly port, maintaining starboard approach. Compression maneuver. Range now 14 nautical miles. Speed holding above 30 knots. Wake patterns confirm sustained throttle. 1 Iranian vessel makes a sharper cut, projected to cross inside 2 nautical miles of the destroyer's bow. CPA 2.9 and shrinking. The destroyer holds course. Helm steady. Electronic countermeasures armed but passive. Forward CIWS tracks automatically. Phalanx mount pivots, its white-red dome calculating trajectories it hopes never to use. Iranian boats now inside 10 nautical miles. Airborne contacts continue outbound. Super Hornets launch. Twin afterburners streak across the morning sky, climbing without drama, flanking the approaching aircraft. No missile locks, no aggressive radar, just presence. On the surface, 1 Iranian craft surges to 34 knots, projected crossing inside 1.8 nautical miles. Bridge transmits again. You are conducting unsafe maneuvering. Alter course immediately. Still nothing. The vessel holds speed. Crews can see hull numbers through optics. Deck personnel move deliberately. CPA 1.6 nautical miles. The captain watches the plot, then speaks one sentence. Log everything. At sea, escalation isn't always gunfire. Sometimes it's distance. And right now, Iran is closing in. 0524 local time. Range 12 nautical miles. 4 Iranian fast attack craft shift formation again. 2 break port, 2 hold starboard. Geometry tightens into a shallow pincer aimed at the destroyer's path. Speed remains above 30 knots. This is no longer parallel shadowing. This is compression. Inside CIC, track lines redraw in real time. Multiple surface contacts maneuver with intent. Electronic warfare logs another spike from the Iranian coastline. Short duration radar, not fire control, but approaching it. Air picture stabilizes. F/A 18 Super Hornets climb through 20,000 feet, establishing a barrier between outbound Iranian aircraft and the carrier. No aggressive locks, no illumination. Restraint is deliberate. Distance collapses. 9 nautical miles. One Iranian craft surges ahead. Wake forms a sharp V. Adjust 5 degrees starboard. Direct intercept. CPA 2.4 nautical miles. 5 minutes to impact. The destroyer holds steady. Helm and speed unchanged. The decision is visible to everyone on deck. The forward 5-inch gun remains trained slightly off centerline. Not threatening, just present. The Phalanx CIWS mount continues its silent calibration sweep, tracking targets in simulation. One Iranian vessel crosses ahead of the destroyer's projected bow at 2.1 nautical miles. Too close for coincidence. The bridge transmits again. You are maneuvering unsafely in international waters. Recommend immediate course correction. No response. Instead, the Iranian craft surges forward. Exhaust haze thickens. Bow wave rises. Inside CIC, the surface warfare coordinator calls out a detail that changes tone. Coastal radar spike, bearing 087, duration 2 seconds, not background traffic. Attention, Aegis assigns the emission to a known Iranian coastal battery signature. Not fire control grade, but probing. The second pair of Iranian fast boats accelerate in response, tightening behind the lead vessel, now within 7 nautical miles. The destroyer stays centered in its lane. No zigzag, no retreat, just steady momentum forward. Above the waterline, a Seahawk lifts from the aft deck. Rotors cut low over the wake before banking left, descending to 200 feet above sea level. Its mission is presence. Forward-looking infrared activates. High-resolution thermal imagery streams to CIC. Engine heat, deck crew, radar arrays, captured, logged, timestamped. At 8 nautical miles, the lead Iranian vessel turns sharply again, now projected to cross inside 1.5 nautical miles of the destroyer's bow. Margin for error, seconds. CPA 1.5. Time to CPA 3 minutes. The Phalanx mount pivots directly toward the approaching vessel. Not armed, but unmistakable. The Seahawk stabilizes in a wide orbit over the Iranian formation. Its sensor turret locks onto the lead craft's bridge. Optical zoom reveals crew movement near the forward gun. Unmanned, but poised. The helicopter transmits. Iranian naval vessel, you are conducting unsafe approach. Alter course immediately. Repeated in Farsi. Silence. The craft holds speed. Now inside 1.3 nautical miles. Missile systems remain powered. Safety's engaged. SM-2 intercept solutions calculate silently. Trailing Iranian vessels edge closer to the port quarter. Gap just over 2 nautical miles. Encirclement almost complete. Airborne, the Super Hornets adjust altitude, sliding into flanking positions relative to inbound Iranian aircraft. No lock, no aggression. Measured force, measured distance. Surface range drops to 1.2 nautical miles. The lead Iranian craft finally eases speed by 4 knots. Wake shortens. It drifts off the intercept line by a few degrees. Not retreat, but no longer collision geometry. The destroyer never altered course, never raised voice, never fired, but the message was clear, transmitted in steel and radar arcs. Iran pushed. The Navy held. At 5:29, encirclement begins to loosen. By 5:31, the lead craft is 1.2 nautical miles away. The trailing pair, 2.4, tightening. Inside CIC, consoles remain controlled, precise. Then it happens. Radar spike, coastal bearing 085. EW console flashes amber. Duration 1.7 seconds. Mode, fire control illumination. Not routine search, targeting behavior. Air and CIC shift. Not in volume, but in weight. Aegis reprioritizes tracks. Surface threats remain primary, but the air picture goes high alert. Algorithms calculate engagement envelopes. No missile leaves a rail, but the math is running. On the bridge, the captain listens. Calm. Classification confirmed. Coastal battery illumination is not continuous. A pause. Then, set defensive posture. Alpha. No alarm sounds. Inside the ship, posture changes instantly. Missile launchers move to active readiness. SM-2 circuits energized. ESSM cells assign probable intercept vectors. Phalanx transitions to live tracking. Above at 28,000 feet, the lead Super Hornet pilot hears it. Hard radar lock. not a sweep, a lock that precedes a trigger pull. Iranian fighter, likely F-4 Phantom variant, has shifted from observation to weapons-grade tracking. 4 seconds. That's the modern air combat timeline between lock and launch. The Hornet banks hard left, dropping altitude. Countermeasures arm automatically. AN/ALQ-214 emits jamming pulses to distort tracking. Second Hornet climbs into high cover. Silent, measured. No radar lock in return. Not yet. On the surface, the Iranian lead fast boat senses escalation. Surges again. Range 0.9 nautical miles. Too close. Bridge transmits sharply. You are inside unsafe maneuvering distance. Alter course immediately. No response. Bow shifts fractionally toward the destroyer's starboard quarter. Crew visible near the forward gun. Poised but unmanned. Inside CIC, air tracks compress. Coastal battery silent. Radar assigns priority to airborne threat. Intercept geometry plotted. Engagement window calculated. If a missile launches, response measured in seconds. The captain's voice calm. If they fire, we finish it. Launch on detect authority stands ready. Surface range 0.8 nautical miles. Wake begins to buffet the hull. Phalanx aligns fully. Mechanical hum audible topside. Seahawk widens orbit. Sensors locked on lead boat's bridge. Infrared captures crew facial heat. Every frame archived. Hornet pilot counts silently. 1, 2, 3. Lock tone disappears. Iranian jet brakes hard right, banking back toward its coastline. No missile, no flare, lock broken. Second Hornet maintains position, watching withdrawal. No return lock, no trigger pulled. On the surface, Iranian fast attack craft hesitate. Lead slows from 34 to 23 knots, fractional turn away from destroyer's path. Trailing pair mirror, pincer dissolves, range increases 1.1 nautical miles. Inside CIC, tension remains, systems armed, intercept solutions live. Iran entered the gray edge of engagement. Airborne, Super Hornets, shadow retreating aircraft to safe standoff. No pursuit into territorial airspace. Professional, measured disengagement. On the surface, fast boats widen separation. 1.5, 2.1 nautical miles. Wakes stretch. No apology. No radio. Just distance. At 5:37, immediate threat stabilizes. No missile fired, no round discharged, but escalation brushed the edge of ignition. Iran pushed past posture, past compression, into weapons-grade signaling. For a brief 4 seconds over the Arabian Sea, the line between warning and war was razor thin. 5:36 local time. The Iranian fighter's radar lock has broken. The fast attack craft are no longer accelerating, but nothing stands down. Not yet. Inside the Combat Information Center, no one relaxes. The most dangerous moment in any escalation is the transition. The second one side thinks it's over, while the other is still calculating. Surface contacts slow to 21 knots. Air tracks turn southeast, exiting engagement geometry. Missile systems remain hot. SM-2 batteries hold their assigned tracks, safeties engaged. ESSM envelopes continue updating for low-altitude vectors. Phalanx remains in live tracking mode. Doctrine doesn't allow assumptions of permanent withdrawal. Above the water, the Seahawk tightens its orbit over the lead Iranian vessel. 200 feet altitude, wide circle, intentional. Sensors rotate smoothly, capturing hull markings, crew posture, antenna arrays. Every pixel time-stamped, every movement archived. The helicopter broadcasts again. Iranian naval vessel, your approach has been recorded. Maintain safe separation. This time, a response comes. Broken English over open frequency. We conduct sovereign patrol near our waters. You adjust heading. The destroyer replies immediately and evenly. United States warship operating in international waters. Your unsafe maneuver has been logged. No debate, no raised tone. The Iranian fast craft adjusts course by several degrees. Small, measurable, range increases to 1.3 nautical miles. The second pair of boats widen as well. Wake lines no longer converge. In the air, Super Hornets maintain shadow positions relative to retreating Iranian aircraft. No radar lock, no flare, no warning shot. Professional discipline. Measured superiority inside CIC. The electronic warfare officer replays the earlier coastal radar spike. 1.7 seconds of fire control illumination consistent with a coastal anti-ship battery probe. That data moves into fleet-wide intelligence channels, not for headlines, but for doctrine updates. That brief illumination changes posture. At 5:42, the Iranian fast attack craft dropped below 20 knots. Formation stretches, pincer dissolved. But something new forms, doctrinal shift. The carrier strike group transitions to launch on detect for future coastal illumination events. No extended confirmation windows, no long verbal warnings if fire control lock is sustained. Blink and it burns. On the destroyer's bridge, the captain watches ranges tick upward. 3.1, 4.8 nautical miles. Iranian vessels are now parallel, no longer converging. Coastal emissions drop to background levels. The Seahawk makes a final low pass. Not aggressive, not close enough to provoke, but unmistakably present. Rotor wash kicks spray across the Iranian deck. Cameras capture it. Then it climbs to 500 feet and returns to the destroyer. Mission complete. No strike package launched. No VLS hatches opened. No guns fired. But the message is sent in layered steel and sensors. You can push, you can probe, you can illuminate, but you will not control the outcome. At 5:48, the strike group resumes standard spacing. Combat air patrol overhead. Airborne early warning expands surveillance to 200 nautical miles. Surface watch remains doubled. No one assumes the encounter is over. These events are rehearsals. Iran tested compression geometry, radar illumination, air pressure. They discovered the limits, and those limits just tightened. Inside CIC, the tactical action officer logs the final note. No weapons discharged, all threats disengaged. Strike group posture elevated. That elevation will not disappear overnight. The next time a coastal radar blinks above 1 second, reaction windows shrink. Warning cycles compress, launch authorization thresholds lower, operationally, not publicly. Iran pushed too far to pretend it was routine, but not far enough to trigger destruction. They stepped onto the edge. The Navy reset it, quietly, permanently. Sometimes the most decisive response is not the missile you launch. It is the doctrine you change. 6:02 local time. The Arabian Sea looks calm. No smoke trails, no debris, no headlines. The carrier strike group continues its transit as if nothing happened. But inside the network, everything has changed. CIC replays every radar sweep, every bearing shift, every emission spike. Iranian fast attack craft acceleration profiles are isolated and stored. Engine signatures cataloged, wake geometry analyzed, reaction times measured to the second. Fire control illumination dissected frame by frame, frequency band logged, modulation archived. Iran did not fire, but they transmitted. And in modern naval warfare, transmission is exposure. Seahawks' sensor footage streams into encrypted storage. Super Hornets transmit radar logs. Every threshold, every acceleration, every lock recorded. Future engagements will recognize it instantly. The strike group shifts from defensive alpha to elevated steady-state posture. Combat air patrol spacing tightens. Electronic warfare monitoring sensitivity increases. Aegis threat prioritization updates automatically. No public announcement, but doctrine adapts silently. The destroyer's CO steps back only after ranges exceed 12 nautical miles. Iranian vessels remain on radar, but no longer maneuver. They drift at the edge of visibility, testing the perimeter without crossing it again. At 6:18, airborne Iranian contacts return to coastal airspace. Hornets maintain safe standoff. Fuel normal. Weapons unfired. Mission logged as contained escalation. Containment is not victory, it's calibration. Iran attempted to pressure a carrier strike group. They delivered signatures. The strike group demonstrates layered readiness. That is the mistake. Not the approach, not the illumination. The revelation, they revealed their limits and the Navy responded. By 6:40, the Arabian Sea returns to visual stillness. Deck crews resume routine. Radar screens fill with commercial shipping and distant weather. But every sailor knows, for 4 seconds, the air carried the tone of imminent conflict. For less than 2 minutes, steel hulls tested collision geometry. For 1.7 seconds, a coastal battery illuminated American aircraft. Iran pushed. The Navy did not blink. Blinking was never the point. The point was adjustment. Doctrine shifted. Response times shortened. Tolerance narrowed. No missiles fired. No explosions. Yet the engagement mattered. In modern naval competition, dominance isn't always destruction. Sometimes it's control of escalation. Iran tried to create friction. Instead, they accelerated refinement. They showed how quickly pressure triggers layered readiness. That is why pushing the U.S. Navy too far is rarely worth the test.